If you want an adventure, you could climb a mountain! Or ride dune buggies through the desert! Or you could just head to your neighborhood Zaxby's. Introducing the Smokehouse Cheddar Barbecue and Southwest Chipotle Filet Sandwich Meals. They're brand new and they'll take your taste buds to wild and exciting new places. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, and they're both available for a limited time. Only at your neighborhood Zaxby's. And don't miss Jumanji: The Next Level, only in theaters.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. We work for Warchant.com. Use the promo code SAVE50FSU for 50% off an annual membership if you're a first-time new subscriber to the ultimate Seminole sports source, which is Warchant.com. The song you're hearing was Corey Clark's favorite Christmas song, unless it's a song that I don't like, and I probably didn't use it. I used one of my favorite Christmas songs. What is your favorite Christmas song, Corey?
Last Christmas by Wham. Isn't that Wham?
It is.
And then also Do They Know It's Christmas, where George Michael was in that too.
man.
So he's in my two favorite Christmas songs.
That's like one of the goats of music videos.
And I'm not a big fan of any kind of Christmas music.
You're not a Buble guy?
I'm not like a Silent Night or a Jingle Bell Rock or any of that. It just doesn't do it.
Hall & Oates Jingle Bell Rock's really solid.
Just doesn't do it for me. Doesn't do it for me.
Springsteen, Santa Claus is Coming to Town's top 5 for me.
I mean, yeah, but it's like
Come Home for Christmas, U2 is solid.
But it's solid compared to other Christmas songs.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's
compared to
Christmas,
regular
though.
music, you would never listen to
But
it.
it's Christmas.
No. I let the spirit of Christmas grab hold of me. I don't need music to grab hold of me. I already got the spirit of Christmas inside me. There's a line I used on a couple girls back in college.
You know what got me in the Christmas spirit the other day?
What's that?
The triple chocolate cookie from Zaxby's.
This guy.
Has green M&Ms in it.
Oh, all right. Cool, man.
So got it festive.
That is festive.
Check it out. Zaxby's Indescribably Good. We will give out one final hoorah on over-under when we approach the Sun Bowl. And you can win a T-shirt. You can win free food. Zaxby's Indescribably Good. I enjoy it quite much. My one buddy tried to take Mercedes Mike out to Zaxby's, but he just wasn't feeling it because he just doesn't deserve good things in his life. I'm a little bit exhausted. I'm not going to lie, Corey. It's weird to have friends. I forgot what it feels like to have friends with Mercedes Mike and Dallin Cuff being in town the last 2 days. I was out late, man. I had to be up early. It's kind of weird. Can't do this anymore.
It's National Signing Day, bud. You get what you deserve if you're out late before National Signing Day. Big day for the Noles.
Yeah, man. Dallin's flight was like 5:45 in the morning. I'm like, all right, we'll probably be done at like noon, or not noon, midnight. No, we close the bar down.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
So was it 16 guys signed? Carter Boatwright, Stephen Dix Jr., Jadarius Green McKnight, Josh Griffith, Zane Herring, Alex Mastromano from Down Under.
Mm-hmm.
Jayon McCluster, Kentron Poitier, Chubba Purdy, Brian Robinson, Tate Rodemaker, Manny Rogers, Thomas Schrader, Damori Tate, Lawrence Toafili, Ja'Kai Douglas, and a partridge and a pear tree. You know how long ago? I mean, I didn't even realize like partridge and a pear tree is just so self-explanatory, but I think maybe only 2 or 3 years ago did I realize it was like a pear tree, like a tree that bears pears.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought it was.
I can't imagine what you thought it was. So they also got Louisville transfer Jarrett Jackson.
Yes, that's correct.
6'6", 280-pound defensive end, announced on Wednesday night that he was committing to Florida State, and has already sent his letter of intent in because Florida State already released it and said, hey, welcome to he planted a spear, whatever they said. So really, 17, he was a 3-star kid coming out of Florida. Apparently he's been recruited by a number of ACC and SEC schools. 6'6", 280, played as a true freshman for Louisville, and had 5 tackles in their opening game against Alabama. I'm sure that was late in the game he got in there, but didn't do much the rest of the season. I don't know if he was hurt or was not in the rotation. But, again, more depth to a position group that desperately needs more depth.
Well, they had that Jonathan Grenard guy who's wreaking havoc at Florida, was defensive end for them in 18, got hurt in that Alabama game, and then, entered the portal, ended up at Florida, or in 17, and ended up at Florida. Wait.
So, yeah, no, he was 18, and then he played 18 for Louisville. Then I think he transferred after that and went to Florida. He got hurt in 18, and then but yeah, man. So that's 17 kids. that they got in the span of 10 days, which is pretty impressive, including, lo and behold, 2 quarterbacks. Right?
Yeah.
I think the big one, the news that all Florida State fans were excited about, and rightfully so, man, was Chuba. Chuba Wumba out there in Arizona committing after, I guess Norvell said during his press conference on Wednesday that he knew the family. I assume that means he recruited the brother, who's now the quarterback at Iowa State. Mm-hmm. He must have recruited him when he was at Memphis.
Brock.
So got to know the family. And then it's just really remarkable because I just thought that maybe Chuba was always thinking about Memphis, or they had been in constant contact even throughout the season. But it really sounds like it was almost a cold call in the middle of last week saying, hey, man, would you be interested? We're getting the band back together. It's me. It's Dilly. We're going to be in Tallahassee. Would you want to come down for a visit? And just getting him on campus was the win. Because once that happened, it sounds like everything fell into place. And they got 2 quarterback commits within 10 days. Yeah. And Willie got 0 in about 700.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Can't win them all.
Right.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham did say that that was a guy he kind of had his eye on when he was at Auburn, but apparently Auburn didn't really want to do a lot of recruiting out that part of the country, at least when it comes to maybe quarterbacks. So recounted a story rather to us on Wednesday about he got a phone call from Norvell about this Purdy guy, and then he was like, I was thinking the same thing, Coach, and then boom, that dynamic, the unspeakable bond between Dilly and Mike.
He's a big kid. I think he's listed at 6'2" or 6'3".
I think 6'4". I thought. I'll double check it.
Big kid that can run. I think he ran for 1,000 yards each of the last 2 years. I have no idea what the competition is like in Arizona.
It's suburban Phoenix, at least, so I would imagine it's probably the best.
Probably, yeah. It's not, Miami Central. We get it. Right. But
Austin Westlake.
But still, he was recruited by a number of schools. He was going to Louisville. It was a tough day for Louisville. They lost a kid they had committed for, I think, 5 or 6 months. He had been committed to Louisville. Yeah. And then he, on the weekend before signing day, goes to Florida State and then commits to a school that just got another quarterback recruit. Which is, that's a tough break for Louisville, but nobody feels too sorry for them. But overall, man, I think you got to be really, really pleased, maybe pleasantly surprised even, with what Norvell was able to do in 10 days. And as you move forward, as you try to project what this crew can do, number one, with a full staff that's out recruiting, and a full year under their belt to get and make more relationships and get to know players in the area more, it should project well. But in talking to Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, the one thing he said that really resonated because it's true, and I've been saying it for 3 years now, he's like, that's all well and good. We've got to put a product on the field. He goes, they're always going to listen because it's Florida State. They're always going to pick up the phone. They're always going to return the phone call. But if we don't have a product on the field that can sell, then it's not going to matter. And that's the truth, and that's the attitude you have to go in. It is a great brand, and Norvell talks about the brand all the time. But the brand can be overcome and overshadowed by dog doo-doo on the field. And so, you got to wash that thing off. You got to wash it off. And hopefully these guys can do it, because I think, again, I said about Taggart, and it was probably true about Taggart, but I really think it's true about these guys too. Just put a product on the field that's competent, that can win 7, 8, 9 games, that looks like it's going in the right direction. It seems like, especially with Norvell and Dillingham, they are going to recruit really hard and be really good at it. Like, they're going to be tireless, it looks like to me, in recruiting.
The interesting thing is, you really can't do a lot of, I don't know how much actual recruiting were they able to really do. I think Chuba Purdy's is an example of doing recruiting. 6'3" is what he's listed at, by the way, on Rivals.com. And as we record this right now, Florida State is currently ranked 22nd in the nation in team rankings. But they, by and large, held on to what Willie had recruited, which anybody would do. If you're Danny Gonzalez at Arizona State taking over at New Mexico, you're not recruiting anybody new. You're recruiting pretty much whoever the previous staff had, unless you just think the kid is just absolutely, he's got no shot for you. So they were able to kind of keep that all intact. And, I don't want to say that the ghost of Willie will linger, but this class is going to be, to a certain extent, is still Taggart's class. These are players that he identified, got on board, and they held on to. So we'll see how they ultimately factor into the success of the program.
If you look at the totality of the program right now, overall, when you take a step back, so I know anytime you make a coaching decision like this and you fire a coach and then you don't hire the next coach for another month, the recruiting class is always what you worry about the most. It's going to implode. It's going to be in the 60s. It's going to set you back because you didn't get the guys you wanted. Well, if Willie Taggart was here, how many more guys would they have? How many less guys would they have? Like, it seems to me, just looking at it from afar and not being Michael Langston, not being a recruiting guru, that it's about the same class it would have been whether Willie Taggart was here or not. You know, maybe there's some guy, Morven Joseph maybe comes here if Taggart's here, but Chubba Purdy doesn't.
But then Jeff Sims does.
Right, but then Rodemaker doesn't.
Right.
And then so, you just don't know how much of it, what it would have looked like. Might have been a tick or two better. But now you look at this class, what you have, it's predominantly the Taggart class that he had put together, but you don't have him coaching it. You have what you think is a better coach with that class. It worked out really almost as well as it possibly could have for Florida State in that regard. It didn't implode. Your class wasn't decimated. It's a good class. It's the class. Well, it's not good by Florida State standards, maybe star ranking wise. But I think if you look at their star average on rivals, I think they're top 10, top 12. They just don't have a ton of commitments like some other teams do, so that alters the standings, if you will, if you care about that kind of thing. But overall, it's mainly the same recruiting class Willie Taggart was going to sign, but you're now hoping, the thought, the expectation is they're going to be coached better. You've got a better staff in place. No. So it really couldn't have worked out better for Florida State other than all that money you owe them.
13th in the nation if you sort it by average star rating.
That's not bad, right?
No.
And he said they still got a couple guys out there. I know the Malachi Weidman kid's still out there.
Figure it out, Malachi. What's going on there?
Yeah, what are you doing? And then, I do think they're going to – the way he intimated at the press conference, I think there's going to be at least 4, 5, 6 more kids they bring on the next signing day. And I think, you've already seen in one day, the first signing day, they got to commit from a Louisville defensive end. So I think they're going to get – the portal will be open. So there's a good chance, I'd say maybe, that this roster will be better next year than I thought it was going to be, and it's going to be at least as good as it's going to be a better roster than maybe if Taggart was still here, or equally as good, right? It's not going to be. It's not, if it's worse, it's going to be marginally worse. If it's better, it's going to be marginally better. But it's going to be around the same roster it would have been with Willie Taggart, right?
Like, I don't know what you're trying to pin me in here into saying, but just like, yeah, there's everything is a positive. There's no net negative that's going. There's nothing that's, there's no negative to Mike Norvell being here over Willie Taggart. If you're looking at the roster,
one negative you think is the short term, right? The short term is, oh man, you really blew up your freshman class.
No, I don't think so.
But no, they didn't. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the negative when you. That's always the worry when you make a hire like this. Is, man, you blew. You just set yourself back a whole year. You just wasted a whole year on the recruiting trail. Well, no, you didn't. All the guys that were in the boat, almost all of them stayed in the boat.
Same thing kind of with, to a large degree, Jimbo's class from 17. A lot of those guys, Robert Cooper, Asante Samuel, those guys.
Yeah, it's just that there weren't many guys in the boat, right? There weren't a ton of commitments when Taggart took over. I think there were like 7 or 8. This time there were, 15 or 16, and almost all of them stayed. Really, who were the ones that didn't? We don't know what Weidman's going to do, but Morven Joseph.
Sims. Yeah, Jeff Sims really is.
But I don't know that Jeff Sims was somebody they wanted.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. But then it's weird to hear that they thought that he didn't fit, but then they talk about they cater their offense to whoever they do have. But, obviously to get Rodemaker than Purdy, whatever they see at the quarterback position, they value more those guys having than Jeff Sims. And I'm fine with it. And he landed on his feet. Good for him, too. He's Georgia Tech,
right.
Cade Renfro, the kid from Stephenville, Texas, which is where the Browse clan made their bones. He ended up signing with Ole Miss. So all the guys, everybody ended up, big happy family. Everyone's doing good. So I'm trying to pull up the 17 class, but I can't find it. My internet sucks here. Got to ask Gene to upgrade me on that. Hey, let's bring Michael Langston right now and get the full wrap on the recruiting. Here we go. Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the recruiting guru, joining us here on Wake Up Warchant. Michael, some surprises. We'll get to that in a little bit, but ultimately Florida State finishes the early signing period, at least day one, with 16 guys that signed. 2 quarterbacks, I think, headline the class. Is that your main takeaway, the quarterbacks headlining, or do you see something else that really stands out from what Mike Norvell and crew were able to put together in 10 days?
I think I think the quarterbacks is certainly going to be the headline, but I think the receivers too were really good. You added two really good ones in Kentron Fortier, and then you also added Brian Robinson, who they wanted desperately so bad in this class. So to add two more of those guys to go along with Jaquila Douglas, who signed late today, and then possibly Malachi Weidman soon. I think that would be one heck of a class if you can finish that off with Weidman. So I think the receivers and the quarterbacks, really jumped out at me today.
I guess let's go right to that then with Malachi. I was a bit surprised. Do we know? I mean, has there been any sort of communication as to why he declined to go ahead and sign on Wednesday?
No, I've talked to a few people that are close to him, and I'm giving them a little space, and they basically don't. I just basically told them when you got to get settled into whatever is going on, just let me know, and they're going to hit me back up, and we'll cover it then. But no, I don't know the reason or what's going on, so I'm not going to speculate what it is. But usually in these situations, even when you get cold feet and stuff like that, the kid eventually signs, whether it's this evening or the next day or the next 2 days. The kid usually signs with the same team anyway, in my experience. Not saying that's what's going to happen here. I'm just saying usually that's the way it works, whatever reason it is. So we'll keep our ears to the ground, and I'll keep when there's something to report, I will certainly cover it on Warchant, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Would you be more surprised if he actually does wait all the way until February, or if he ended up signing somewhere else, like in the next 2 weeks, or whenever the window closes?
I would be surprised if he signed anywhere else. Okay. But would I be surprised if he decided to take visits later and sign in February? I guess both would actually surprise me, just because he's so sold on the basketball program. We know he's a great basketball player, and he's seemed to be really sold on what they're doing in football, which makes this whole thing kind of strange a little bit. But maybe it's a situation where he only took 2 official visits. Maybe he wants to just see so he can compare it to FSU before he signs it over. I don't think that's really going to change his mind if he does do that, because I think he's very sold on what FSU is. But until we find out what the reason is, just guessing. But like I said, usually when kids are sold on a program the way Malachi is, they usually end up signing with that same school. We've seen it numerous times, and I think that's what's likely going to happen here. But we'll see. I can't say for sure, but that's just my opinion. But we'll monitor it, and we'll report on it when there's something to cover.
Other than quarterback, obviously big position to need, offensive line. Zane Herring as well as Thomas Schrader signed, and lots of big praise from head football coach Mike Norvell about those two guys. But running back is now becoming one of those positions that they really need to stock up on. And man, he and Kenny Dillingham both talked about Lawrence Toafili, and they're making us. They sound like they think they've got the next great thing coming to Tallahassee. Which, me being a guy from Pinellas County, we really haven't churned out a lot of great skill position guys over the last 15 years or so. But Toafili, I feel like that's maybe outside the quarterbacks, that was the biggest sort of smile on Mike Norvell's face when he was talking about his class on Wednesday.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about Lawrence. I mean, he's tough. He runs hard. We went over there for the spring tour. We got a chance to watch him practice, and I mean, he does a lot of special things. He's one thing about Lawrence is he's tough. He's really hard to bring down. He's not an easy guy to bring down. He's got great speed for a big back. You wouldn't expect somebody that's 190-something pounds like he is to be able to pull away from people, but he's got good speed with that. But he can shift gears really well, and he reads his blocks very well. And I can see why Coach Norvell likes him so much, because if you watch, what Mike Norvell has done at Memphis with his running backs and how he utilizes them, you see a lot of similarities of what Lawrence is. Great hands out of the backfield, can hurt teams in the passing game, but also a between the tackles runner that's going to really bust big plays. And I think that's what Coach Norvell sees in that kid, and I think that's why he gushes about him. And he's just we hung around him. Or I hung around him. He's a tremendous kid. Just being around him, he's very mature when you listen to him talk, and it's just the kid just a great off the field kid that you want representing your program.
On the defensive side of the ball, he pointed out Demore Tate. He even pointed out the fact that Demore Tate is probably the highest ranked recruit according to the recruiting services, which I thought was a nice thing for him to kind of acknowledge. After Willie Taggart sort of seemed to not really care about recruiting rankings, to hear a guy like Norvell, who seems to maybe put some stock in, or at least be aware of it, was a little bit of a refreshing thing. But the thing that caught my ear was the two players he talked about in terms of just like their physical stature, them being a specimen, them passing the eye test, if you will. Both were on the defensive side of the ball and were Steven Dix Jr. as well as Manny Rogers. He seemed really impressed with those two guys, and I think maybe even Rogers more so than Dix. I mean, Rogers, he's got the potential. He's a sleeper potential in this class, I would think, right?
Yeah, it's not hard to be very impressed with Manny when you see this humongous human being. I mean, he is special, and then you put on the tape and the film, and then you really like him after you watch the film because he's just explosive. He almost moves like a tight end when you watch him. He's so quick and agile and gets off blocks very fast. He's explosive hips. There's a lot to like about him. And this is what somebody told me around FSU. They said this was Odell's number one guy. Like, this was the guy that he wanted from the beginning when they started recruiting. And when you watch his film, you can see why. I mean, this kid is very, very underrated, even with where he's at, as far as what his ranking. I mean, he is special. I mean, he's going to make an impact. I think he's a guy that's going to be very, very good. And I think that's not surprised that, Coach Norvell thinks so highly of him. And then Steven Dix, the kid I love. I mean, I went to see him on our spring tour and as well, and just one of the best kids you can be around. But this kid hits like a tank. I mean, just rips your head off. I love everything about his game. Great against the run, gets off blocks fast. All the areas he has to get better in coverage, but he plays middle linebacker, so they're not going to be asked to do that too much. But just a guy that can help you and attack you defensively in so many different ways. And I think just to respond to the rankings thing, I don't think so much he follows it all the time, but it's all about the preparation and organization to know what your guys are, to how to promote. And he understands that. It just speaks to his organization skills of, it's one thing to, it's one thing to listen to it, but it's another thing to know facts and know things about the rankings. And that shows you people that are prepared. They do study on it. And Jayon McCluster even said it on the official visit. He said, man, I was shocked how many things that Coach Norvell already knew about me, like personally, like knew about me and my game, stuff he noticed in my game, stuff he noticed that I could get better at. And the fact that, it's just about being prepared to talk about whatever you're going to talk about. And he seems to always be prepared to talk about that. I mean, he seems to be on top of stuff all the time.
As for special teams, Alex Mastromano, the punter from Australia, apparently, tip of the cap to the previous staff, Mike Norvell said, because the previous staff actually identified Mastromano, who was, I think, committed elsewhere, Norvell said, but had an open mind, and Norvell was able to get him on board. 6'3", 215-pound punter from Australia, so that'll be an interesting little weapon at their disposal. Also, I think a surprising thing was the transfer news that came down in the evening on Wednesday, and that was the Jarrett Jackson from Louisville, from Palm Beach Gardens, who put his name in the transfer portal at the beginning of this season, is committed to Florida State, and Florida State went ahead and I think tweeted it out to make it official. So while Florida State maybe did miss out on a guy like Morvin Joseph, who's a pass rusher, I mean, to get a 280-pound defensive end, which is definitely a position in need, it was a nice little sort of icing on the cake for their efforts on Wednesday, it seemed like.
Yeah, it's probably a kick to the gut, too, to Louisville, kind of like, you want to take any more of our players, guys? I mean, you're taking our commits, you're taking our, took 2 commits and then took a transfer from them. So it's like, but seriously, I know Jarrett really well. I followed Jarrett throughout the high school time. He actually wanted to go to FSU. That was like his first choice, and Jimbo Fisher actually liked him a lot. And they were close to taking him, but they just did not have the room, and they were full at that time. So I think he decided to, go to Louisville. But FSU was his first choice. That's where he wanted to go. And I think the big thing, and I think when Jimbo recruited him, I think that was Jimbo's last year, but this is a guy that, if you watch his film, he is strong, violent hands, just really violent hands, and his first step is lightning quick. I mean, he's going to add a lot to what we talked about, the last few nights, Aslan, is pure pass rusher, pure guy that's going to go in there and just disrupt stuff all the time, and that's what Jarrett does, and so he's going to be a phenomenal addition. Be interesting to see if they get the waiver, because when he signed, the coach they had there wasn't there, so there might be you might be able to get a change there.
Yeah. All right, so now looking ahead, well, we're not really looking ahead, but a lot of work to be done, and it seems like Florida State's willing and ready and excited to take on the work that comes ahead between now and February. There's going to be some other names, difference makers, we're hoping, that'll probably become unearthed between now and February when the conventional sign period rolls around, I would think, right?
Yeah, I would think, and I don't think they're done with this early signing period. What I've heard tonight, now I don't know if this is Malachi and Lloyd coming up, but the way somebody referenced it to me was there's a few more new guys coming in. Okay. So there could be actually added additions to what they already have for this 2020 class, but I'll do some digging on that to see what that means. I mean, because the wording I got, the way somebody worded it to me was it was going to be new guys, not guys they already have committed. So it'll be interesting. I'll check on that just to see if there's actually something new there, something going on. But it was just interesting when I heard that tonight.
We'll see how it goes. If you want to know what happens first, check out Warchant.com's premium recruiting board. Michael Langston, all of his hard work featured there daily. Do check it out. Use the promo code SAVE50FSU. Gets you 50% off an annual membership if you're a new subscriber. Michael, I would like to say that we're not going to talk to each other for a long time, but I think we're going to probably end up having to go to Valdosta to do a story on Tate Rodemaker, but that'll be a few weeks, maybe another month or so down the road. So this is the last time we'll talk before Christmas probably, partner. So have a Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for all your help this recruiting cycle. And, yeah, man, we'll catch up.
All right, Vaughn, you can call me anytime, dude. Like anytime. You can call me. Actually, I'm going to see Star Wars tomorrow night, by the way. So right. You can call me. So I can't wait for that. But no, I mean, it's been fun, man. It's been great. I tell you what, the last week or so has just been a long ride for obviously as coaches, but also just me covering it. It's just I'm not used to it, and it's kind of exciting. I mean, just to see the different ways these guys, the way how aggressive they are, and just how they attacked and had a focus on what they wanted to get done, and they got most of it done. I think it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it.
All right, man. Well, let's do it again in, 2 months or so, something like that. He's Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for Warchant.com.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. To Corey's point, per usual, he was right. I think only about 5 of the 21 who ended up signing in 18 in Willie's first class were guys I would consider, quote, Jimbo guys. The Christians on the offensive line, Amari Gaynor, Asante, and Robert Cooper, really. Everybody else was...
A.J. Litton? Was that Litton one?
Yeah, there you go. You can get Litton, too. You can get Litton as well. And then all those other guys. Maybe I think DeMarcus Adams might have been another Jimbo guy as well. But, yeah, I mean, by and large, that was Willie going out there and getting guys. And to Michael's point, then he mentioned that February is also going to have more folk coming into the fold for the Noles. So we'll see how that all goes. Hey, let's do the Renegade Express. Let's take questions from our subscribers. We love them. Hopefully they love us back. Corey, if you or someone you know is looking to buy or refinance a home, First Commerce Financial is a pure mortgage broker committed to providing transparent mortgage solutions to help you grow your overall net worth. They eliminate the junk fees associated with most mortgages, all while providing 5-star level service. Not 4, 5. They would be number 1 in the Rivals.com recruiting rankings with their level of service. They also keep you updated throughout the process, which is really good. From what I've heard, my buddies that buy houses, the whole thing is like getting communication, right? Like, where are we? Where are we at in the process? You want to know what's going on,
right?
First
Absolutely.
Commerce Financial lets you know what's going on. Mention that you heard about them here on Warchant. They'll waive your appraisal fee if you're a qualified borrower, which you probably are because you're a Florida State fan. Probably have a good head on your shoulders. Probably very economically prudent in the decisions you've been making in your life. So check it out. Begin the process. Have any questions? Call them 248-207-2404. That's 248-207-2404. Visit firstcommercefinancial.com. They're licensed in Florida, Michigan, Arizona, and California.
Good work, buddy. You did it again.
I'm trying, man. I tried. All right, we're going to probably hop around here and not take everyone's questions. We love you, though. Just remember that. I probably should have read all these before I start reading them in here. How about Toby Knoll 98, first guy? Let's go ahead and do it. Coordinators seem like good picks. They share Norvell's vision. They are on the same page and have a plan. I like that they are being truthful with everyone. This is going to be hard. A few years ago, a player said, you got to love football to play at Florida State. You have to put in the work no matter how much talent you have. I think we'll see a definite higher level of play even if we don't win 8 games next year. I could, maybe higher level of play, maybe more disciplined play, cleaner play.
Schedule's harder, so the prism that we view each season, I know we just can strip it down to wins and losses, but there is context matters, and the schedule's harder. So even if they finish with the same record, or even heaven to forbid another bowl-less season, if they look like they're going in the right direction, that would be a nice sign. Because in Willie's first year they did not, and in Jimbo's last year they did not. So it would be nice to see. And Jeff brought up a good point on headlines. And we've talked about it a lot, and it was good to see somebody else kind of echo what we talk about. But, man, go upset someone. Go beat someone you're not – or at least hang with them.
Yeah.
A team, and that means, obviously, when you look at the schedule next year, go win at Boise. Go hang with Clemson in the second half, not the second quarter, although that would be an upgrade.
Right.
Go hang with Florida. Make them play a 4-quarter game. Make one of those teams play a 4-quarter game. Go beat Boise State or Miami. Go do something, man. Sorry, guys. Too early. Too early.
Rookie Baby, Merry Christmas to you both. Thank you for keeping us entertained all year long. Merry Christmas to you as well, Rookie Baby.
Yeah, Ricky, baby.
Rookie.
Oh, I thought you said Ricky, baby.
No, not Ricky. Since bowl season is here, what is your favorite Seminole bowl game moment outside of Shreveport, Corey? I'm not speaking about national championships, just regular old bowl games. Have a great holiday, fellas, and as always, go Noles.
I think mine's pretty easy. I'm trying to rattle it off in my head real quick. I think Deion's interception in the end zone against Auburn for the 88 Sugar Bowl.
Was that when Bobby's wearing a suit?
No, he only did that for the Syracuse game up there. But another dome. You got that one right. But no, it was the Sugar Bowl. It was Lawyer Tillman was the receiver, and they had played Auburn the last 2 years, and Lawyer Tillman was their star receiver. And he's like, well, if he's the lawyer, then I'm the judge.
Hey-o.
Man, he said that stuff. Like Deion was awesome with stuff like that. But yeah, so Auburn, it's 13-7. 30 seconds left. They're driving down the field. Dedrick Dodge, friend of the program, gets away with a blatant pass interference in the end zone that they don't call. Like literally the kids kneeled down in the end zone about to catch the pass or at the 1, and Dedrick Dodge dives over him and knocks his helmet into the ball, and they don't call it. But anyway, the very next play, Deion steps in front of a pass to Lawyer Tillman, intercepts it, and that was his last play as a college football player. So that's off the top of my head, that's my favorite bowl memory. Terrell Buckley had a crazy punt return against Penn State, where he ran 30 yards backwards.
Blockbuster Bowl?
The Blockbuster Bowl, and then turned it left. And my dad got really, really drunk at that game. Anyway, I couldn't sit with him. I sat down with my buddy 5 rows in front and kept yelling, "Who is this drunk guy?" the whole time. It was, looking back on it, I guess I'd be embarrassed if that was me and Brady was doing that. But it was, I don't know. I guess I look back at it fondly. He didn't drive, so that was nice.
Ubered back, right?
Yeah. What are yours that aren't that
National
aren't
championship?
national championship
Well,
moments.
I had to look it up, so that's kind of a cheat. But Anquan throwing that touchdown to Thorpe in the Sugar Bowl in 2003 was pretty cool. Just see Anquan.
The one they
back there.
lost?
Yeah, that was a cool play.
It's a good throw to Talman Gardner, too.
Yeah, that was really good. Also, for some reason, Lorenzo Booker's run against Penn State, didn't he bust off a big run against Penn State in the second half of the game? And they lost that one as well.
Maybe. I know Willie Reed had a punt return in that game.
Yeah.
Willie Reed was a great punt. He gets
was.
lost. I don't mention
He
him
does.
nearly enough when I talk about punt returners at Florida State because he was awesome. And then just for personal reasons, the win over Northern Illinois and Jordan Lynch, Heisman candidate Jordan Lynch, and just they were so inept. They couldn't do anything. They'd never seen anything like that defense. And Vince Williams saying after the game, yeah, he was kind of sorry. Yeah. That was a fun moment, too.
Also, honorable mention, Graham Gano just burying Wisconsin and Orlando.
Yeah, just punt after punt after punt at the one.
And Greg Reed emasculating Marcus Lattimore.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a really good one. If you want to talk about what it meant to an actual program, I do think that was a bit of a program-defining moment for Jimbo Fisher. That game against a team that almost won or played for the SEC championship. And then you go in and just completely out-physical them, and you knock their star out of the game by the smallest guy on the team. Knocks his teeth out. Was kind of a good moment moving forward. Now, it didn't really translate the first half of 11, but after that, I do think a moment like that helped them land that 2011 class, which was the number one in the country. It was all about momentum. That game, you beat Florida finally for the first time.
That's right.
Then you go beat another SEC team right after that. Beat them, I think, pretty soundly.
Oh, yeah.
And then you sign the number one class in the country. That's a lot of momentum rolling into one, and then 2 years later you win a national championship.
Somebody here also mentioned Keith Gavin's kick return, which is that's a fair one too, right? Keith's kick return against Michigan in the Orange Bowl.
You know what I liked about that game? Yeah, that was good. Nooney making that catch over the first-round cornerback, too. That Dalvin played in it is really cool. It's just really cool. I don't think we'll ever see that again. Somebody of his stature playing in a game like that that's not a playoff game. I think those days are over for the most part. I don't blame any of them. But it was really cool that even McCaffrey and Fournette were sitting out, but Dalvin went and played and won on Orange Bowl with his team.
I bet you if there was a Mississippi Bowl game, I bet you Cam would play. I think that obviously I think was a huge part of it was being in Miami for Dalvin. If it would have been the Fiesta Bowl,
that's true. He was in Miami. Still, though, that's a lot of money you're risking.
Yeah. Noles MG4, wake up! Good morning, Warchant fam. I thought the coordinators were right on point with the new vision and what it's going to take to succeed with our new regime. Have to love the vibe that's building with Coach Norvell and his vision of what he feels is best for our program. Incorrect. I don't have to love anything. Don't tell me what to feel. One question I have for you both. What will make you believe that this is going to turn around sooner than later? As always, thank you so much for all you do. Have a blessed and safe Christmas. 5 stars are the best podcast around.
There's nothing really that can be done in the next 8 months, right? He's saying all the right things.
Come on, man. You're gonna wait 8 months. You're gonna reserve judgment for 8 months. It's
I'm
gonna
going to
really
reserve
boring.
judgment till the field.
It's gonna be a boring podcast for 8 months.
I think they're doing everything right. It sounds like they're doing everything right. I think he's putting together a pretty good staff. We'll see. He did say on Wednesday that he'll be filling that out. He feels pretty good about the coaches that are in place that haven't been announced yet. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just wonder what the first year is going to look like. I do believe in this guy. I will say that. I believe in this guy, and I believe in his vision. And I think he's going to be he could end up being a pretty dynamic person at this university. But I just got to see what the first year looks like. It can't be 2-10 or 3-9. You got to see some progress over the course of the season, too. It's a bit of a challenging schedule, but you should beat Wake Forest. Or not Wake Forest. Well, you should beat Wake Forest. You should beat West Virginia. You should beat Louisville, NC State, teams like that. You just should.
I mean, the only two things I would probably say that'll help define it will be just looking at the way they practice, just being at practice. It's going to be a gut thing. It's not going to be an analytics, data-driven thing. Obviously, just going to be looking at them, seeing that they're bouncing around, doing some things. I mean, for me, it really is going to be just seeing the way they practice, and then also to a certain degree, it's going to be if they're going to be able to jump out early in the summer and get some top flight recruits committed early on. I think that'll be a really good sign as well too, because with the way the calendar is so sped up, you have to start getting guys committed to you in June and July. And if he can get maybe some 5-star kid, I mean, golly, imagine you got like a 5-star offensive lineman to commit, before August, before the kid starts a senior season. Maybe one of those kids that likes, I want to just get this all out of the way before I start my senior season in high school. I want to be done with it. And the kid commits to Florida State. Now, obviously, they can change their mind if they end up going 5-7 or something crazy like that. But I think that would be a real nice thing to see that this thing it's turning around sooner than later. I did find it kind of interesting. He mentioned the players. He would talk about them in the way they were valued by the recruiting services. Obviously, Willie talked about he doesn't care what the recruiting rankings say. He has his own formula, and that's fair. But I also think, there's so many people that do this now. There's so many competing websites and networks that when there's like consensus on some kids, it's like, don't knock it. There's a reason why Clemson and Alabama and Oklahoma continue to be in the playoff, and Ohio State, and that their recruiting classes are up there. So it's crazy how that all kind of works out. Turntle lives. No, I'm not going to do that.
Turntle doesn't live.
No, and that's kind of what it's about.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. Let's see here. Primetime 92. Hey, gang. If you guys were in your late 20s and could move anywhere in the country, where would it be? I'm not a fan of big cities and like the outdoors culture, so I was thinking about Asheville or Charlottesville, even possibly out to Oregon. What about y'all? And for fun, if you could not live in North America, what country would you pick?
London, maybe? I know that's not a country. England. Or Toronto. I think I could live in Canada.
Toronto?
I don't think I'd go to a Spanish-speaking or another native, tongue that I'm not familiar with that would be too hard to deal with. Just the community. And I'm too lazy to learn the language, I think. I'd have to do it. Maybe I could do it in like 8 months if I just did, what is it called, Rosetta Stone or something? Mm-hmm. But so I'd say something easy like that, English-speaking country like England or
Australia?
No, too far away. I can't. What am I going to take a boat there?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
no, it's too far.
They cruise out there.
I think I could cruise to England. I think they have cruises across the Atlantic. That would be fun. I don't know if you can. Do
Titanic?
They have ships to?
I think Titanic did that, right?
Yeah, it did. It tried. I don't think it ever made it. Didn't quite make it. Got close though. It's too soon for that, right? There was like 1,000 people that died on that boat. I would say for this country in the USA, it surprised me how much I did. I really liked Southern California. Not L.A., though, because the traffic is not – literally, I deal with it too much in Atlanta anyway. Yeah. I just couldn't be like my buddy lives 14 miles away. Here comes an hour-and-a-half car ride. It would just make me crazy. But like the Newport Beach area.
Yeah, I got
man, it's really expensive, so hopefully I'd have an awesome job. But I could live there in a heartbeat. It's my pace, man. It's kind of laid back. I get up there. If I get up there at like – my 11:30 here is 8:30 out there, so I'm up and at 'em, like doing stuff. It just seems like it's more my speed, so I think I could do that. Maybe Austin.
I've never been to Austin, but
I haven't either.
Nothing
but I've heard
negative
good things about it.
Yeah, I've always heard really good things about Austin. I would say probably Austin because I've heard really good things. In my 20s, I could have done New York City, and I would have liked New York City, especially because I have so many friends who live up in New York City. New Orleans, I would have said as well, in Nashville. Those are the other two towns I throw in there.
I'd say New Orleans out of Nashville.
I would put New Orleans as well as it.
Yeah, but even then, I don't know if I could live there, man. I don't know that I could survive living in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not talking about the murder rate.
Right.
I'm just talking about my body being ravaged.
No, I'm with you. Let's see here.
Charlottesville's a good choice, though. Have you ever been there?
No, but I know Chris Long, who does the podcast with Ryan Russillo, played at Virginia and lives out in Charlottesville and talks about how great it is.
It's a really cool city, man. Yeah. That campus is awesome. That'd be a cool place to live, too.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson guy was up to something good. Ozzy Ahola 82. Again, I don't know how to pronounce it. Wake up. No, literally wake up. The irony of Aslan hosting a podcast called Wake Up while complaining weekly about having to occasionally wake up before 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of the working world is on the move. Just kidding, man. Have a great Christmas. Tell Corey I stop at a QT every morning to get a coffee. It's the Disney of gas stations.
It
Go
is.
Noles.
Booyah. I don't even know if that's a compliment. I think that's probably a compliment, the Disney of gas stations. It's got to be something that I got to get everybody on board with.
Okay.
I've heard there's another one called, I think it's in Alabama. They're called Buc-ee's or something.
Buc-ee's, yeah. Those are busy bee on roids.
Yeah, they're enormous, right?
Yes.
And what do we got, Aslan?
Whatever's connected to the Chevron.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna, and just like the thing about where I live in Atlanta, and I live.
We don't even have a raceway here, do we?
No. Or Yeah, we don't. I don't think. Yeah. But a racetracks are nice. At least the ones up in Atlanta. The one by me is really nice. And I live in a pretty decent part of Atlanta.
You do. Yes.
You've seen it. You've seen my house.
I like it a lot.
It's a nice neighborhood.
It's very nice.
My neighborhood in Tallahassee is a nice neighborhood. They should have equitable gas stations around them.
Okay.
They don't. One is it's literally hell on earth, and one is like a beacon of light. I mean, but whatever. It's fine. You guys are just going to keep – it's like you just lived with them for so long. You're like, that's Tallahassee. We have terrible gas stations. Nothing you can do about it. Why? Somebody – I know there's somebody out here. There's a lot of people out here nodding their heads to this, and I'm not – trust me, this will be my last gas station rant. But there's got to be somebody listening to this that either works for a fuel commission, if there is such a thing. I think I'm making up a department of the government, but knows a reason why there's only one type of gas station in this area and why we can't expand. Is it just Tallahasseans don't even know what's out there?
It's the footprint, maybe. I think those are like QTs are large. I mean, you're in the urban sprawl of suburban Atlanta. There's land for miles and everywhere around you in the suburbs. The way they're planned out, Tallahassee just kind of, I don't know. It was a small town that kind of blew up because of the university and being the capital.
But wouldn't you go to one of these existing gas stations in Tallahassee and say, look, we're going to buy you out. What do you pay for your lease? Is it $100 a month? $200, whatever it is, whatever you bought this thing for, $6,000, we're going to pay it out, and we're going to build a massive 2019, 2020 welcome to the decade gas station that has everything you need, has a short order cook, has coffee, like all the accoutrement of modern gas stations.
Every time I drive by a gas station now, I envision some person smoking a cigarette, sitting on a pallet of bottled water.
Just hoping nobody comes in to buy something.
While you just sit at the counter waiting. FSU Todd, wake up, love the show, Aslan and Cornrow. Aslan, what is an Iranian Christmas like if it's celebrated? Thanks and enjoy El Paso. Well, my family is Muslim, so we don't celebrate Christmas, but there is a Christian population in Iran, and I don't know if they do trees in what we do here in the Western.
So you don't? Because you got I'm looking at a Christmas tree right now.
Yeah. It's on phone to my mom. She's like, it looks very pretty. Yeah, no, we don't celebrate it. We did one year. My parents, when we were kids, they bought a tree, and they bought us gifts, and we kind of they bought us gifts up until I think we got to middle school, and then we're kind of like, come on, you guys realize we got a funny name, we're different, we don't do all this,
right?
So the jig is up. So yeah, we did that, but. Yeah, no, I love Christmas, man. Like the season, man. Just everyone comes back home from. I just remember being in college. When you're in school, you get off for 2 weeks. It's I know the reason for the season, get off my back, but for me, it's just kind of reuniting with friends and it's just a good overall vibe, man. Helping people out, people helping people.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
Absolutely. We'll be helping people out too on Friday. We'll be bowling, the Jeff Cameron show, Toys for Tots kind of thing.
Right.
Whatever. Yeah, so
that's right.
That'll be fun. Let's see here. Marnol55, wake up. Hey, guys, I agree with Corey. I don't really care about the upcoming game. I hope they play all the young guys. If I never see Levante Taylor play another down at FSU, that will be my Christmas gift. Man,
yikes.
Wow. So let's jump to more important issues. What is a Christmas menu? A repeat of Thanksgiving, or do you guys do something special? We just run it back. My mom, whatever she does for Thanksgiving, she'll do for Christmas if I'm home.
We don't. The only thing we do for Christmas, weirdly, we don't do a traditional Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve dinner. We never did.
Really?
No. We do a Christmas breakfast brunch.
Oh, okay.
My mom makes this casserole that's really good, cheese grits, hash browns that I don't eat, and fruit, all the stuff you'd want. But it's really, really good, and that's what we do. We do a Christmas breakfast brunch deal with croissants. Oh, sweet flaky croissants.
Yes, indeed. Lunch_time. Wake up, guys. Second time poster. Unfortunately, the first one got skipped because last week's Renex was jumping. Sorry. Now to my question. He's from Enterprise, Alabama, it says. Home of the boll weevil.
Oh, what does that mean?
I don't know. Just it wreaked havoc on the cotton crop back in the day, but they pay
Wouldn't
homage
they have been
to
everywhere?
It. I don't know. Question. What offensive skill players do you think will thrive under Norvell, a.k.a. Norvell? His picks are Hilton and Laburn. I think he probably meant Hilton. Yeah,
that was my first instinct was Hilton. I think he's the kind of guy that Norvell's going to – he like the who was the kid they got from Louisiana? Douglas?
Yeah, Ja'Kai
Douglas. I think they're both similar guys, both 5'9", about 170, kind of jitterbug, speedy slot guys.
Yeah.
When he talked about Ja'Kai, I know Ja'Kai played quarterback in high school a good bit, so he's more accustomed to being in the backfield. But he talked about lining him up in the backfield some too. And I think that's not – I'm sure they'll give him a few carries, but it's more, I'm sure in the passing game to get one-on-one with a linebacker. That's what good coordinators do. They find mismatches. I think that that Norvell will do similar things with Helton. If he's 100% healthy, which I'm assuming he will be by the time practice starts in August, I think that's a guy that could really have a big season in that offense.
Who do you think will be the best player on the team? Like is like Laburn? I mean, he's going to be the highest rated, recruited, ranked player they have on that roster next season, I would think.
I think Asante Samuel is probably going to be the best player on the team.
Okay,
but he was really highly recruited too.
He was.
It'll help him immensely. Number one, to be coached better, but to somehow, some way, create a pass rush. That's going to help all those DBs immensely. And I was thinking about it today when I was. Well, I'm not going to say what I was doing. Anyway, I was thinking about it today when I was, relaxing, living. I'm really interested in Travis J.
Yeah.
I even meant to ask Norvell at the press conference today, and I forgot. I want to know his status. When is he going to be eligible? Because that guy, everybody that's ever seen him, that's been around him, that's watched him, just can't stop talking about how awesome a player he's going to be. I want to see it on the field, and I want to see what that guy looks like and how they utilize him. He's almost like the 18th commitment they have for this class. We haven't seen him.
Right.
He didn't get to play, so add him to this class. He's a part of this freshman class now. That makes it a lot better, and I want to see where they end up putting him and how he contributes, because I think he's going to contribute a lot. I think he might be a guy they might even look to move to offense. I don't know. There's no inside knowledge there, but the way Adam Fuller talks a lot about position changes. He talked about it at his press conference. He talked about it today when we were asking him about, for players, and Ira asked him about players being okay with moving from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and they just want to know how does it affect me? That's awesome, coach. I like your scheme. I like your plan, but how does it affect me? What do I have to do? Right. And he goes, we don't even know much about any of these players. We haven't watched film. We don't know who's going to change positions. He keeps saying that over and over again. So I think you might maybe see some linebackers be pushed into defensive end, or safeties pushed into linebackers, whatever. Oh, also Nasruddin if he's healthy.
Like I kind of want to double down on DJ, but it just, for whatever reason, maybe it's just not going to happen. At least to the what we were hoping. I'll go with the dark horse. I'll say Jordan Young, and I guess Laburn. I mean, he's got to get it figured out. I don't think he's going to want to transfer and sit out unless he's going to be able to be a grad transfer. So, I'll say those two guys I think will thrive. Let's see here. GA20K _ wake up, guys, from the home of QT. Out here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, still repping the Garden and Gold and eating Zaxby's. Thank you, man. Question about the rest of the coaching staff filling out. I assume as we get past signing day, that becomes the focus for the next 2 weeks. Do we get Thompson from TCU as offensive line coach? What about the other positions? T-Buck, please come home.
We're all about T-Buck.
Yeah, we fully endorse that. Don't know what's going on with that. Thompson does sound like that might be something that happens.
Yeah, and if it happens, it would happen soon. You'll see this a lot. Like all these schools will have signing day, and then the next day or the next couple days is when you hear all these assistants changing jobs. His connection with Norvell, he's at TCU now. He's been there for 3 years. His connection with Norvell is he was at Arizona State with Norvell as the O-line coach. Mm-hmm. And then he also, I think, must have coached him in college at Central Arkansas, because he started out he was a coach at Central Arkansas, and I believe it was about the time frame that Norvell would have been there. But either way, he has a connection with Norvell. He was also the head coach of a Division II school that made the playoffs like 6 years in a row. Like he was good. He was like 61-20 as a Division II head coach, and then I did some reading because I heard his name, so I went and looked him up. And then he went to Texas Tech for a year and ended up being the interim coach for them when Tuberville left to go to. And he won this bowl game as the interim head coach. So
Abilene Christian.
Yeah, so they went to the Division II playoffs 6 years in a row, and so that's a world of experience bringing into your, if that's the guy, bringing into your coaching staff, and a guy that's had head coaching experience.
He looks mean.
Yeah,
I
well,
dig
you need that, don't you?
No, I dig it. Looks like he's from Vernon, Texas, which I think is actually where Art Browse, I think, is actually coaching high school football, or at least Mount Vernon, I think, is where he's coaching high school football right now. Other positions. He did mention, Norvell mentioned that the existing staff, or the staff that, was left behind, did a good job of helping them get situated and figure things out on the recruiting front. And he did mention Odell by name, and he did mention Dugans by name, and those two guys have been retained. He did mention Telly Lockett. That was the only other coach
did, yeah. He
did mention by name. Maybe that's something to look into in terms of maybe he stays on at tight ends coach, maybe he moves to running backs coach. Somebody was asking Ira. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that because then I give away what Ira says, and I shouldn't say that. Let's go to Maxwell Gibbs. But, yeah, we would imagine probably here in the next, I don't know, I think by the time this team is in El Paso, I think the staff will be pretty much figured out, I would think. I mean, they're getting out there.
I think most of it's probably already figured out, don't you? Yeah. It's just a matter of when you can announce these things. You don't want to announce it. I know it's kind of
once
shady,
those guys are done doing their job.
But they're recruiting for the schools they're at now that have paid them for the year. Their job is to try to get kids to that school. Once that signing day is wrapped up, then they, it's a little less shady to leave right after that. I think that's what'll end up happening is you'll hear within the next week. You'll hear before Christmas about probably a couple more, and then maybe it'll be finalized right after the new year.
So, I mean, right now as we sit here, you got Fuller, Dillingham, Odell, Dugans. So you got 4 guys.
Plus Norvell, so you got half your staff. So
I'm not counting Mike.
Well, but you get 10 assistants, right?
Coaches,
so you got 40% of your assistant staff. You've got to imagine, I think, personally, he's got at least 3 or 4 of those other positions on lock. They're waiting for the right time to announce it.
I mean, the whole, bringing all my friends back kind of thing is slightly dubious. But again, in terms of maybe having the familiarity with each other on the offensive side of things, I'll kind of give him benefit of the doubt on that. It's his offense. He probably wants guys to know how he wants to run things and things of that nature. Defensively, yeah, T-Buck would be a huge get. That would be a big get. And if you get a big-time linebacker coach, that would help. Although I think that's primarily Adam Fuller's background, but he said he's going to be touching every level of the defense. But it'd be nice to get maybe some sort of big-time up-and-coming linebacker coach. But I haven't really heard any names, and there's been a hot board out, so we'll have to scour what we can to figure it out. Maxwell Gibbs says, Merry Christmas, gentlemen. What are your thoughts on Norvell's first signing period? I think we kind of touched on that earlier. Anyone who's realistic knows there's no way he can sign a top 5 or top 10 class, but hats off for keeping this class intact and also bringing in some needs at key positions. 2 quarterbacks in 10 days on the job, all caps. Hard to believe 3-star Willie couldn't get one signed in 2 classes. I didn't mean to even read that. Gotta be mean. I was listening to headlines. I just want to say that if Gene or Ira ever decide to fire Corey, I would cancel my Warchant subscription. Same goes for you two, Aslan. Not sure if we'll get another Express till after the new year, but I wish you both a happy new year. And Aslan, take it easy on the tequila in Juarez. P.S. Next year, when FSU hopefully ends up in the Pinstripe Bowl, I promise to take you both out for the night in my city. But here's the catch: you both have to come up. Corey, you'll need to get on a plane.
I'll do that. If they're in New York, I'll go to New York. It's been too long since I've been there. Maybe the whole Warchant gang will go. Merry Christmas to you too, Maxwell. We appreciate it, and I would love to see Ira try to fire me. Would love that.
Mad AMCZ. Wake up. Missed Corey on the show the other morning. Hope he thanked Aslan for recording content at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, what was that all about? All of a sudden I look in my podcast and there's a show that's been dropped.
It was signing day. I felt like we had to put something out for signing day.
Then that's what you get for
Down
Karen.
was in town, and I'm like, I got to do something. I mean, you're right. I got to do something. So
that's true.
Did something.
All right.
Why can't we flip 6-6 into 9-3 in 2020? I know. Offensive line, losing guys like Marvin and Cam.
There you go. I think you're answering the question.
Next question. However, we know that our new coach beats teams he's supposed to beat. We know he's seriously committed to special teams, so maybe we'll actually return kicks. Our schedule is harder, but the ACC is still mediocre. Plenty of talent on the roster still compared to most of our opponents, assuming we can recruit a solid grad transfer at quarterback. Why can't we flip 6-6 into 9-3? New staff has 8 months to get this team playing smarter and more disciplined. Give me your top 3 reasons and why they can't be somewhat fixed by August. Love the show.
The ones you mentioned would be my top ones. I will say this. I think we're all expecting them to be better coached, better prepared, fine. I just think there's going to be so many coin flip games.
Yeah.
And if you're in a coin flip game, you can't win them all. So, like, there's a couple that you start the season assuming are losses. I'm assuming at Boise is a loss. You couldn't beat them at home. I don't know that you're going to go up there and beat them on the blue turf. But that's not an impossibility. I think Clemson is an impossibility, and Florida's pretty close to an impossibility. So right there, you're starting the season, in my opinion, close to 3 losses. So that means you have to win every other game against every other – and some of those teams are bowl teams. And you're just going to have to – it would just be a lot of coin flips that you happen to win. It's not that it can't be done. I just don't expect it. I think the law of averages says you'll win a few close games. You'll lose a few close games. Like you beat Louisville this year. In a game that you might have should have lost. And then you lost to Wake Forest in a game you probably should have won. Like that evened out. Now there's a few other reasons you lost to Wake Forest, but we don't have to, rejudicate that. But I do think that when you look at the roster and who they're playing, I think every Saturday they'll have a little bit more talent. Not every Saturday. Most every Saturday they'll have a little bit more talent than the opponent. But not so much that it would be a guaranteed win. I just think that's going to be a bit of a coin flip. And I said it when Willie started. I'm going to say it when this guy started. This team's 18-19, man, the last 3 years. Coaching is a big deal. These players have to learn how to make plays and win games, too. That's why winning one of those 2 games, whether it's at Boise or West Virginia or maybe, heaven forbid, both.
Miami, too, I think needs to be factored in there, man.
But if you can win early, if you can win that at Boise game or that West Virginia game, in this program, these players finally have some confidence. Yeah. Any confidence they've had the last 3 years has been false. It's been false bravado. If they can have real life, we're pretty good confidence, I would like to see how that would manifest itself for the rest of the season. I do think that's a big deal.
It's 3 years in a row they lost the opener, so...
Yeah, they're always playing in a hole, and it's always bad. There's never a good real vibe. There hasn't been a good vibe around here since they beat Michigan?
Ole Miss. Oh, yeah. The Orange Bowl.
It's Ole Miss, too,
season.
that season. You're like, man, this is going to be a good team again.
To start the year,
2 weeks later, they get lambasted by Louisville. But, yeah, so it's like if they could just start with a win, just start with a couple of wins to feel good about yourself, maybe see a number by your name in the rankings, and then see what happens.
You know what's crazy? I just remember being so angry at the defense at the Ole Miss game, just furious. Like, what the hell are they doing?
Wasn't it like 21-0, like right away or something like
terrible. That? And then at this point, with the way the defense has played, I just have become numb to it. I was like, oh, this is what they are.
Yeah, they're going to be huge holes in the zone. They're not going to get any pressure.
So I would like to get that changed. The 3 things, top reasons why they could flip it or how they would flip it. I mean, maybe just Norvell and Dillingham have a better feel for what they want their quarterbacks to execute, and there's not going to be, whether it's Willie meddling or Kendall being stubborn on some things, more simpatico kind of communication between the quarterback and the coaching staff. Maybe a better quarterback grad transfer wise. Get yourself. I mean, imagine if they got 2. I don't know. Maybe they got like an offensive. There's a guy from Colorado State, I think, that said he was transferring out. That I think he started 12 games at left tackle this past season, and Colorado State wasn't great, but if you can get 2 guys that are better than Ryan Roberts,
right.
Not by huge margin, but just like better than Ryan Roberts, because the interior will be okay. I think between Baselli and Bavion, you'll figure out center, and then you got Dante, Lucas, and Maurice Smith's a guy who started getting some burn on the interior. Brady Scott maybe one more year stronger, can shore up one of those spots on the interior. So. Yeah, I mean, you get 2 guys at that position, you're okay. But then defensively, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's any great pass rushers out there you're going to be able to kind of pluck up. But maybe if this defense just plays harder, maybe if they can line up faster, if they can just diagnose pre-snap what's going on at a much more efficient rate, they'll be playing with more confidence and they'll be playing faster. And just by virtue of playing faster and getting to the ball, less big plays happen, and those sort of things can help you flip. But I mean, I think 9-3 is just way, 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 way too ambitious. I think
it's not, but it's not impossible. It's not. It would just be very surprising given the lack where they're weak, their weaknesses. It would be to go 9-3. They'd have to beat somebody they're not supposed to beat, and we're not used to thinking that this team does that. So hopefully they'll surprise us.
The thing though, ultimately, is. To think they're going to go 9-3, you just have to be of the belief that the previous staff was just so out of sorts. Which is you can certainly think it. I'm not telling you not to think that, but I think more so than I think getting an influx of talent. I think it's just you're going to have to believe that Willie had this thing so far discombobulated, and Norvell's going to have it so quickly back into a cohesive sort of effort that's what's going to really be the difference in things. And that it's a legitimate thing, but again, I haven't seen them practice one single time. We haven't seen them get any sort of huge, for sure, kind of slam dunk difference maker recruiting. So if they can get some of those things done, maybe I'll come around. Hey, let's take 2 other questions, and we'll get to the rest of these. We'll do it tomorrow probably. And if we can't get to all of them, we'll do them on Monday. And then that'll be the only – I don't know that's the only show we'll do. We'll probably only do 2 shows next week. I think we'll do one on Monday and then maybe one when I get to El Paso. Then maybe it might just be Ira and I.
Ooh, that's going to be rough for the listeners. If that happens, I apologize.
Well, you're always – hey, man, it's your show. If you want, I don't want to pull you away from Brady.
I just imagine like the mom or dad that, it's a tough day. It's a Tuesday. It's a work day. You get in the car. You had to get your kids ready not for school, but you still have to go to work. So you probably have to drop them off somewhere. And you're like, you know what? I got my coffee. Let me start the podcast. I want to see what Corey and Aslan have to say to get me through this next hour. And then you hear Ira's voice.
Stop it.
What are you going to do? You might just go back home. You might just pull a Yui and go back home and get back in bed.
I think all 3 of us should do it.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
We'll do like knockoff headlines or whatever. Let's see the ones I want to take
here.
Very
knockoff. Let's
focus on the past. We'll make this one a quick one, and then the last one we'll maybe dive a little further into it. Raleigh Knoll 2. Hello from Raleigh, North Carolina. Do you think if we had used a search firm 2 years ago when we hired Taggart that we would have made the same decision? I do. I think they would have.
Say that again?
If they had used a search firm 2 years ago, would Florida State still have hired Willie Taggart? I think they would have.
Probably because he would have been on a short list anyway, and then you would have seen how open he was to it, and you're open to him. A Florida guy had one in Florida. Yeah, I don't think. But we also don't know how search firms really, really work in the sense that who else are they talking to about that coach? Like maybe they have some other people that tell them, whisper in their ear.
Good fit?
Like maybe you may at least do your due diligence, man. Talk to some more people about him. Don't rush to this. Maybe they do that, but again, they were so lucky in the sense, not lucky, they did it, but to have 4 weeks to conduct a search as opposed to in their 4 days. So they it was just everything was so expedited. It was really hard to make a well-informed hire in 4 days.
Speaking of due diligence, apparently nobody at FAU called any high-level administrators at Florida State.
Well, it's FAU. They just hired Lane Kiffin. You know what I mean? Like who'd they call about him? People at USC?
_2000. Last one. Good morning, gentlemen. For argument's sake, let's say that the Showtime series that covered the Noles actually went more in depth. They did not allow the head coach to have final say in what made it into the episode, meaning you actually got to see more of the behind the scenes with the staff, players, completely unfiltered. In order to get a better perspective over how things went downhill so badly these past couple of years, would you rather they have covered Jimbo's final year or Willie's first year? Have a good holiday season. See you in 2020. I'd rather have Willie's first season.
As it relates to us now, yeah, I think that's more. That would be more. I don't know, more informative. Than we. I mean, we know Jimbo's last year what it was. I mean, we didn't see it every day, but we know. Willie's, it would be maybe more enlightening as to what in the world was going on. What in the world happened? Why did this look like this? Who was not working hard? Who was working I would have the ins and outs of what went on that first year. His relationship with Walt Bell and Greg Fry, all of them. Like, what did it look like? That'd probably be my answer, I think.
Because they were so surprised after the Virginia Tech game.
He was stunned. He was stunned.
What did it look like in practice then? Or was it just like, wow, we're going to be all right. Like, we're just so good. We're so good on good.
Yeah.
Then when we go up against Virginia Tech, we'll be all right.
And you remember that practice they had? It might have been they had the scrimmage that was like maybe the week before or 10 days before, and they were talking about how the offense had scored like 16 touchdowns.
Well, it was a situational.
I know it was situational scrimmage, but the number was thrown out there like 16 or 18. Yeah. We added the context that it wasn't like they wouldn't have scored 130 points, But just that was like 7 or 8 days. You're like, wow, man, okay, this is going to be really fun to see. And it was not fun to see at all.
It was not fun. Let's not go. That's kind of a downer. Let's go on this one. Drill Sergeant Porter. Happy holidays to you both and everyone else who loves FSU. I'll keep this question light. There we go. I know FSU has not changed uniforms much, but what is your favorite version of our uniforms? The first FSU jersey I ever got was for Christmas when I was 10, and it was a Warwick Dunn jersey. That would be my favorite because of him and just the way it looked. Thanks for the show, guys, and as always, go Noles. Favorite version?
Probably that. If you're talking about the Warwick Dunn, like it's garnet with white, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's some yellow in there too, though, like maybe yellow over the white.
Yeah, like the number had that.
Yeah,
had the gold outline.
Just the way that garnet pops. That's that's the one I like the most, I think. And
it had it had the collar had a little more of a tribal-y feel as opposed to like what the one has now. I'm just trying to think. Like, give me the 99 white on garnet. You know, I love the white with the garnet numbers and the garnet pants.
So like the Ricks to PK uniforms in the swamp.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at?
I was like Winky or Seabass.
Yeah,
mocking the Gators in Gainesville.
I was there for the Punt Rooski in '88, the white on white. To me, that was a sharp look. Yeah. Burt Reynolds bought those uniforms back when. Yeah. I was going to say when Burt Reynolds had money, but obviously also when he was alive. That was cool to see. I would say, man, you can't screw it up too bad though, right? Garnet and gold is a really cool combination.
It is.
And yet. Here we are looking like Boston College for the last few seasons. Yeah. Just get it back to closer to what it resembled. As long as that color combination is somewhere in there, it's going to look cool. You still have the really cool helmets, but just get it somewhere to what we remember from the 90s. Yeah. I think Norvell will do that, right?
Well, I think Willie put it in motion.
Willie already had it in motion.
He's got the white numbers coming back, so his legacy will live on.
It will, yeah. Plus, the football facility will be named in his honor when he doesn't take the buyout. So we got that to look forward to.
The WTF.
Yeah.
Willie Taggart facility. All right, man. We'll be back. Probably tomorrow. If not, we'll be back Monday. We'll definitely give you one show before you begin your Christmas holiday. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's.